Hey, this is Sean from Grid 7, and this is the second part of this video where I'm going to show you now how to make the ratings display on here. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to replicate, just clone this functionality, kind of like an Amazon ratings or whatever, star system here. So, and there's a previous video if you wanted to see how we got to this point that basically builds this app, little mini app from scratch to get us here. But now we're taking it and we're just going to add in the ratings component. Okay, so what we need to do is display the rating number. So bring in a piece of text and we'll resize that. And let's make this we're going to use okay, so this is where we're going to introduce custom formulas. This is basically a way to, if the value that you're trying to display isn't something that's in the database, you can calculate it. So this pops open a little dialog and then you can actually calculate something based on other elements in the database. So we're going to basically say for the current wine, ratings give us the star rating average. So that will give us basically the average of all of the star ratings for this wine. And we'll do it as, that's correct. Okay, so let's just see first if that worked. Okay, and there it is. And let's see if I can fix that. It's weird on the spacing there. All right, so this is one mystery to me, is the layout engine for Adalo. Sometimes it just goes haywire. Okay, so, but at least we got, it's displaying 4, which was the correct star rating. Okay, so it is working. All right, so next we need to, and let's just, by the way, check this. Let's just add another record here. We'll leave a 3-star review. And I'm violating the principle, like there's only one user, so I'm able to manually override it and add another record. But our visibility rule in the application would never let me leave 2 records. So let's reload that. And it's correctly displaying 3.5. Okay, so far so good. So now what we need to do to clone this is to, well, let's do the easy part first. Let's display the number of ratings, which is super simple. So let's just add another bit of text. We'll say ratings. And this is going to be the sum total of all. It's the count of the number of ratings for this wine. Okay, let's test that real quick. Okay, that's good. All right, now here is how we're going to go about actually displaying the appropriate star rating here. We basically want to clone this piece of it now. So there is not a super easy way to do this in terms of like showing and hiding like pieces of this thing. So I wonder why Siri keeps coming on. Let's see if I can do this. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make 10 different graphics, and I won't force you to sit through this, but I'm going to make 10 different graphics basically at the resolution of half-star ratings. So 0, half, 1, 1.5, etc. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put those images when basically we're going to use the magic text here to display the appropriate graphic. And I'm going to host those images somewhere, probably just on a web server that I control. So this is the only tricky part of it, and I'll step you through it. But let's first just quickly create the images. And I'm not going to make you do the whole thing, but I'll just show you the first one. I use Pixelmator is the image editing. Like obviously you can use whatever image editor you want. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is, let me actually just take out the background, and I'll do it this way. I'm going to, so a 0-star review would be this. Let's export. And with each one of these, I'm going to call 0 through 10. Star 0. Let's undo that, and now let's go. This will be star 1. And undo that, and star 2. And like I said, I'll stop here so because you get the idea. But basically, there's going to be 10 of these. Okay, so let me pause it and do the rest. All right, and here is the 10th one I'm doing now. Okay, so we've got our 10-star reviews here, and I'm going to put these in a folder. I'll just call them stars, and I'm actually going to throw this up on GF. Thanks. Let's put these in here. Oops. And I'm going to throw those up. Now, so this presumes that you have somewhere where you can put these. You can put them in Amazon S3, which is, if you use Amazon Web Services, that's a super easy way to serve these. Dropbox and Google Drive, unfortunately, will not let you serve assets like this. So the other way to do it, I'm just going to throw them on my web server. So I control a couple WordPress instances. So I'm going to put these in WP content, and I'll just put them in uploads. I'll call it helper graphics. Okay, so those are all there. All right, so those are mostly there. Oh yeah, we got 8 and 9 here. I should upload those. Okay, cool. So those are all there now. And we can go test this out, make sure that we can open this in a web browser. And obviously the 0 one doesn't display anything, but 1 is going to be a half star, and 10 should be the 5-star review. And that's super janky. It's going to be on a white background, so it's not going to look it's not going to look this janky. But yeah, so now let's go, and so now that we've got that, so that's good. So let's take this URL, and we're going to go in here, and now we're going to display the graphic that corresponds to star count. So it's going to be a URL. The URL is going to be this, but this number is going to be dynamic. And we're going to basically we're going to take this number, so it's going to be the review, and we're basically going to multiply it by 2, because remember we have a 0 through 10 scale. So it's going to be, instead of 0 through 5 with half increments, it's going to be 1 through 10. So we'll take that average, which is the star rating average. And now actually we need to use this as a custom formula though. And we're going to multiply this by 2. So that should give us, so if we did this right, let's think, what should this be? If we did this right, we should see the 7, the graphic 7 here. So let's test it out. All right, and like I said, we worry about the layout here in a minute, but that worked. That's a 3.5-star review. So there we go. We can clean this up. I think you get the gist of it at this point. But this is the essence of this. Oh, let's do one more thing just to clean it up. Let's group these. Display, and then I was going to say, let's to make this just kind of a little nicer, let's add a conditional thing here that says like, thanks for your review, if you've reviewed the wine. So we're going to use for this one basically the reverse display visibility rule that we use this one. So sometimes visible, blah, 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 and then it's going to be greater than 0. And technically it will never be more than 1 because we're restricting it. I cheated because I added it directly to the database to get it to this point, but that won't be the case if people interact through the app. But let's just quickly do it here. Change visibility, sometimes visible only if, and we want to do this if the count is greater than 0 and restricted to me. Cool. So there it is. Fix the layout issue and clean it up a bit. And obviously we can do a lot more from here if we wanted to. So we could keep going down this rabbit hole. If we wanted to add these progress meters and have this concept of like frequency of different reviews, we can do that. And here's an interesting lesson. This is what I've said up front regarding the value of not storing derived data in the database. This is kind of I guess you'd call it like just a principle of databases. But I know some of the people that I've seen for offering suggestions on how to solve this will actually increment a value. So they'll add a rating numeric field here, and they'll try to they'll increment values rather than storing the raw data as these ratings. There's a lot of reasons why you generally don't want to just store derived, they call it derived data in the database. You want to store the raw logged event data if possible. And the reason for that is, what if let's just go through it. I'm going to go through and basically sabotage this guy. So I'm going to say, let's just hit this as a different user. What was the URL? So I'm going to go in here as a different user. Let's say I'm a malicious person and I'm a competitor, so I'm going to give them a 1-star review. I'm going to do this just gonna create a bunch of accounts and make a bunch of 1-star reviews. Okay, so I'm gonna sign up, use a different email, test2, grid7, whatever, and I'm gonna say bad guy. And I'm also, just for the heck of it, I just thought of this. Did we add? Yeah, so it's automatically. So Adalo automatically has the timestamp of when it was created and when it was updated. I don't know. I like to add it as an explicit field. There can be reasons why you might want to display it in your format. But anyways, so I just came in here, oops, in the incognito. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give this guy a 1-star review just to sabotage his wine. Now, as long as you're storing this stuff and you're not incrementing it, you've got the raw log data, you can basically do things like go in after the fact, and if I know that this user is a bad guy, I can just go in and delete all of his ratings across the app. So you can't do that if you're incrementing values and you're not logging this data by user. This also allows you to do things like, look at usage patterns, see what types of wines certain people like. I mean, there's just a ton of reasons why you want to log this raw data and not do it the way that I've seen some people trying to do it. So I think that's a major philosophical type lesson of doing this approach. And again, Adalo is working on a ratings widget themselves, so I'm sure that'll save a lot of time. You won't have to go through this whole process, but hopefully you learn a little bit just about things like that principle of storing, typically not trying to store derived data in the database. So anyways, if you like this tutorial, here, let's just delete it to take the bad guy out of the system. I don't feel good having that guy's review in there. Let's get it back to where it was. But yeah, so if you like this tutorial, I'm starting to do basic stuff like this on grid7.com. And yeah, I'm just going to teach stuff that I've learned. This is a pretty elementary one, but I've seen it come up a number of times in the forums. And so I figured I'd just throw it out here and be able to refer people to something. But yeah, I'm going through and I'm doing a lot of different stuff. I've used different no-code tools. Adalo I've only been using since January, so I know a bit about it. We built the entire charity makeover backend system in this, and it's fairly complex. We use this to run our hackathons, and it's basically, we're using Stripe integration and using Zapier and ActiveCampaign and doing some fairly complex stuff here. This is the application. But this is what powers charitymakeover.org, which is a pro bono effort right now. And I'm just going to teach lessons that I've learned having worked with a lot of this stuff. And not just Adalo, but I'm working with, like I said, some fairly sophisticated stuff in ActiveCampaign automations, Zapier. I'm starting to get into Mixpanel for cohort analysis and actually using the messaging features of there. The Adalo messaging features, there's some limitations there, but custom journeys, so there's some really interesting stuff, and I'm just going to basically start blogging these lessons. So if you found value out of this, let me know, leave a comment, and I'd appreciate it. If you want to get more of this stuff, I'm now running a mailing list here, and so you can subscribe here on the blog, and let me know if you have any questions or if there's any topic in particular you want to see me cover in a future video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.